When you have a price conversation with a client, you want to focus on the communication. The better you are at communicating value, at educating the client about the value of what you do, it'll help you to convert more business, but more importantly, at higher prices. And one of the things I teach my students in the Bookkeepers Pricing Academy and the Value Pricing Academy is the importance of a professional looking brochure. Now, just the other day in one of my Facebook groups, somebody asked the question, Mark, how do I create a bookkeeping pricing brochure? I'm going to share with you how in this video. So how do you create a bookkeeping pricing brochure? My name is Mark Wickersham, author of a number of books on value pricing for the accounting profession. So I talk about the importance of having a professional brochure, like this one, for example, from one of my students called Pro Accounting. This is his bookkeeping brochure. Why is it so important? Well, a number of reasons. Firstly, it's all about positioning. When you are meeting a potential client and you have a professional looking brochure, then it shows that you've done this before. You're not making this up. This is what you specialize in. And what happens is when people perceive you as being an expert, they're more likely to want to buy from you because people want to work with the experts. And when they perceive you as being an expert, they're willing to pay higher prices. Now, secondly, is what marketers would call packaging. And as you know, Apple do this extraordinarily well. Why do Apple have such amazing packaging for their products? They spend a huge amount of money and resource on that. Why? It's because when you open up the box, when you open up an Apple product, the packaging it's exquisite. It's beautiful. And what happens is it influences our perceptions of the quality of what's inside. Beautiful packaging makes us feel that the quality of what's inside the box is even higher. And what happens is when we perceive higher quality, we expect to pay a higher price. This is your equivalent of packaging. When you package what you do up beautifully, then people's expectation of the quality of what you do will go up and they'll expect to pay higher prices. But there's a third reason, and the third reason is even more important. The third reason is this. A professional-looking brochure becomes your system, your aide-memoire, your reminder of what to say in the meeting so that when you're with your client, you take them through it page by page and it gives you a structure for that meeting to build up the value in the right way. So what is the structure of building up a great pricing brochure for bookkeeping? There are 7 things that you want to have, 7 components. So here we go, let me take you through them. Number 1, the first thing you want to think about is what's going to be the title of your brochure. You could call it your bookkeeping service, but the problem with that is bookkeeping, it has a low perception of value. So come up with a better name, a name that describes the big benefit of your solution. So think carefully about the name, the title. Number 2, then as you start to have the conversation with the client and the first couple of pages of your brochure, what you want to do is focus on the pain. Because people are more motivated by the avoidance of pain than the attainment of gain. And so we're moving away from something. What's the pain of bookkeeping? Why would somebody not want to do the bookkeeping? Think of all the reasons, all the problems with doing the books, all the things that can go wrong, all the pain points. List them and then start to craft some words around that. And that goes in your brochure as your aide-memoire, your reminder to talk about the pain of bookkeeping. Number 3, what we then do is we want to focus on the outcome. What's their life going to look like once you've got the books under control and you're dealing with it? What's the outcome? What's the big benefit of your solution? Describe it. It might just be a few sentences. That's fine. What's the big outcome? What's the big benefit? Now, if you do that really well, you may well find that the client says, that's exactly what I need. So what's that going to cost? That's called the price question. And you should never answer the price question until the very end. You've still got to build up the value. You don't talk about price until you build up the value. So how are you going to deal with that? What's the scripts? What's the words that you're going to use if somebody asks the price question? How are you going to explain that we'll talk about price later? Think of the script. Think of the words. Put that in your brochure. Put it in the brochure because it acts as your aide-memoire, your reminder of what to say. Next thing we do is we set out some choices. We set out options. You'll know I talk a lot about menu pricing. Every client's different. Everyone values things differently. So what's your bronze level bookkeeping? What's your silver level? What's your gold level? And what you may well do is create within your brochure a table that sets out with some ticks and crosses what they get within each of the packages. And you'll spend a bit of time then using that to help you talk the client through the benefits of each of the packages, to help the client understand which is the best one for them and their business. That's number 5. Number 6, what we have to do is, as you're talking through all the things that you do as part of your packages, we must remember that they're just features. And as we learn from marketing, people don't buy features, they buy benefits. So it's all very well saying to a client, as part of your bookkeeping, we will reconcile your bank account. We will reconcile your credit card. We'll post your transactions. It's great to let the client know what you do because you want them to realize how much work you do, the value of it. The trouble is, those are all features. And you and I know, because we're accounting professionals, that a bank reconciliation is extremely important. It's critical as part of bookkeeping. But the client has no idea. They don't know what a bank reconciliation is. They don't know why it's so important. So what you then do is you look at that list of all the things you do as part of your bronze, silver, and gold services. And for each of those ideas, you ask yourself, or each of those features, you ask yourself these questions. Why do we do that? And what's the benefit to the client? Why do we do it? And what's the benefit? Write down the answers. Write down why. Write down the benefit. And what you do in your brochure is then in the subsequent pages, you then describe all the things you do as part of bookkeeping. Describe it as to why you do it, why you do the bank reconciliation, and what's the benefit to the customer. How does the customer benefit from a bank reconciliation? And you'll probably find that's the most detailed part of your brochure as you go through all these things, because you want to make sure that you use it as a reminder that when you are saying to a client, one of the things we do is a bank reconciliation. If you then have this sudden moment where you forget, oh, what's the benefit of a bank reconciliation? It's in your brochure. Your brochure is your system. It's your backup. And so you could say to the client, a bank reconciliation is so important. In fact, it's so important. Let me read to you why we do it and how you benefit. So if you forget, you can always read bits from the brochure. That's why it makes a great system, a script for helping you to manage the process. So that's number 6. Number 7, how else can you help? What else can you do? So make sure at the end of the brochure you list the other services, the main services that complement your bookkeeping. So you might talk about your payroll, your cloud accounting setup service, your cleanup work, whatever it might well be, other related services. Make sure you include those as well so you can then make the client aware of all the other things that you do. Okay, before I summarize, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel. That way you can get notified when I release other videos. And also please hit the thumbs up. Do that now, please, just to let me know you like it. I'd really appreciate that. If you've got any questions or comments, please put them below the video. Anyway, let me quickly wrap up. So those 7 things that you would have in the brochure is number 1, think about the title. Number 2, what's the pain of bookkeeping? Number 3, what's the big benefit? What's the outcome of your service? Number 4, what if they ask the price question? How will you handle that? Number 5, set out your packages. Number 6, set out the benefits of everything that you do. And number 7, how else can you help? What are the benefits? What are the packages, services can you offer them? Your payroll, for example. Thank you for watching the video. I will see you again on another one.